Today we have Miss Shonnie Stapp, Business Development with Independence Title here in Texas. Hello, Shonnie.
Hello.
So we are going to ask you a few title insurance questions, what a title company does, why are they important, and everything. So to begin with, let's start with tell us a little about what a title company.
So a title company is a disinterested third party. Two main goals or responsibilities is to give you a guarantee that you have clear title. We will check for liens that are on the property or judgments or anything, any airships that are attached to the property, any mineral rights that are attached to the property, anything that's attached to the property, we pull the history of it. And if it's something that is going to prevent you from having clear title, we get it cleared one way or the other. The other major responsibility is clearing the funds, collecting and dispersing the money from the buyer to the seller or the builder, whichever the situation is, and guaranteeing that those funds are done so that when everything's signed, sealed, and delivered, we know it's all nice and tidy.
Gotcha. So when we have like those first time home buyers and they're walking through the process with their agent and us, the lender, and they're like, we tell them, oh, your closing's at title. You'll send your money to the title company. This is where it's going. This is what you guys do.
Yes.
Okay. And then all of those things in those title policies that you're mentioning, maybe it was an airship or something, and you're making sure that it's covered. You're ensuring that that transaction will go through and everything be cleared
Yes.
so that
And that someone doesn't come up to them later and say, I have ownership in your property. We have documentation that you have clear title.
So is there anything different? Is there anything unique about title insurance in Texas compared to any other states?
No, we do have the homestead laws that are a little different than other states, but that's with lending or whatever. We do have Texas is all of the premiums are determined by the Texas Department of Insurance. So when you're choosing title company or the builder's choosing title company, they can, if your sales price is $350,000, if you go to one title company or another title company, the premiums are set. They cannot be changed. The main thing that you look for in a title company is customer service and how thorough they are, that type of thing. But the cost is negated by Texas laws.
Gotcha. Fantastic. Well, and speaking of that, I know we're seeing a lot of new construction in Texas, all over the state. How does title insurance cover construction loans or land loans? Is it different than just a regular buying from a seller of a home that's already done? Is that different?
It's calculated different. When you buy from just a seller, a resale, it's a set amount of money and that's what the premium is paid on. If you decide to buy a lot and that you're going to build on in the future, you're going to pay a title policy based on what you paid the seller for that lot. And at that point, your owner's title policy is only based on a $70,000 lot or whatever the numbers are. Then when you get ready to move to construction, the policy needs to go from a $70,000 policy to a $570,000 policy. So it changes, it goes along, but we give you credits back for the amount you paid on the lot. So it gets kind of complicated, but we're here to help you through it. Yeah, it's based on the value because on a sale, it's based on the sale, but on a construction, it's based on the value.
Well, and then you're insuring that value in the transaction and the coverage of everything. So yeah, that makes sense. So what are some common title issues that you do see that they're having to clean up prior to the transaction actually closing?
A main thing is, especially if it's been in maybe a family for a long time and they're dividing up part of it, you've got to make sure all the heirs are being paid the way they're supposed to, and that you have the rights to cut out a piece of it. We need to make sure there's no outstanding tax lien. It gets complicated sometimes when you go from ag exempt to non-ag exempt and then back. So it's there's all kinds of little nuances that come up, and that's what we're here for, is to check on any of those things for you.
I see a lot of in my transactions, airship and ag exemptions, a lot of that in rural areas, especially. So I do still see that often. Um, so for, I'm obviously in mortgages, and title policy is required. This is every transaction we have title. What for cash buyers, is title insurance required? Is it recommended? What do you think?
In the state of Texas, it is not required. We do recommend it because you would have to go, we're not going to do all of the research for you. I mean, we won't close it. If you're not going to get title insurance, then we don't close it. We're not involved at all. So all of our research that our title plant does for us, it's not done. If you're not going to use a title company, I would definitely recommend going to an attorney and seeing how much they can do for you. You definitely don't, just because you're buying cash, go hand somebody some money and take over the deed, because it is more complicated than that.
So even in family situations, they should be speaking words. They're handing it down or something. They should be speaking either to title or an attorney. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. No, I completely agree with that. So speaking of 2025 and housing market, especially here in Texas, have you, in the title company, whether it's the metro area, any area of Texas, have you seen a shift this year compared to 2024? I mean, obviously it's been a huge difference from 22 then to 23. What about this year? Has this been any different?
Independence Title does a lot of research on forecasting and economic numbers and all the fun things. Everyone feels like this year is off to a good start and going to get better. The interest rates, there's not anything we can do about that. I think a lot of people are just realizing that, it's a good time to build, it's a good time to buy, and the interest rates may be what they are right now, but you can refinance an interest rate. You can't change the cost that you're getting a piece of property for. And I mean, it's right now, everything we're hearing, it's the best time.
I agree. I see for buyers, this is still what I call a buyer's market. There's a lot of ways to negotiate compared to just a few years ago. So yeah, hopefully on the residential side, that'll change. Fed made some cuts for the prime rate over the last year, just very seldom, but hopefully that's also bringing in businesses, and businesses are continuing to grow. So hopefully that's something y'all are seeing as well. Especially the borrowers themselves, they don't really understand or get title, and this is a good explanation for them. But besides just the borrowers, what are tips for agents or lenders or anyone who is in contact with a title company? What are some tips you would give to either better prepare for a transaction or research or anything like that?
The number one thing is to communicate any questions that you have. If you got in the back of your head and you think you don't want to ask it, ask it. I mean, I sit outside, right outside my office is one of our escrow assistants, and I listen to the questions that she asks. She's just great about pulling out the questions that we need to know, that you may not know you need to tell us, or you may, so it's just, communication is just a very important part. I mean, and we have right up front, ask all the right questions to make sure we're not going to get to something that's a firestorm at the end. And so it's just communication. I mean, it really is.
Do it up front. Well, is there anything else up front, whether it's when we're asking for the title, when they've gotten under contract, is there anything to help that process, besides the communication, anything they should present or anything else, or mainly just stay in communication?
That's the best about it.
So for Independence Title specifically, what does Independence Title bring to, whether it's, again, not just borrowers or agents and lenders, what are things that Independence Title is doing to help agents understand things? I know that I've attended several classes about landowners ownership zonability that Independence has done. Name a couple of things that Independence does that is would be helpful.
Um, our education team and trainers are amazing. I mean, we have a whole gamut of classes. We do one-on-one classes, we do Zoom classes, we do group classes. So, they do everything from, like you said, helping with zoning, helping with social media. There's just anything. I mean, if you have questions, if a realtor has a new listing and is concerned about zoning or concerned about some past deeds, they can just we just put a request into our customer service team, and they get us all the documentation that you need to see what you're dealing with. And we just, we've been in business for 20 years. We've been number one in the Austin market for, I know, at least the last 5 years. And it's because our closers and our escrow assistants are just phenomenal. I mean, they are experienced, they're thorough, and it's just, I mean, it's a great team.
Well, thank you, Shonnie, for joining us today. We will be reaching back out to check on things and how things are going in Texas housing market soon.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.